to write a graduation speech, and this is what he shared last Friday with that class, and then asked if he could share it with another class as well, because it's a pretty powerful message. And I also said absolutely, because I think it is a message that, first of all, I'm just so proud of him for being willing and able to share this message. But I think it's also a message that some of you have either may have thought about at times or need to hear from someone like Seth. So I'll let you take it away.
Lifeguards. Lifeguards are trained to notice the struggle of someone deprived of oxygen, fighting to the surface, desperate for life. Rarely do they notice the figure floating quietly, even peacefully on the surface. The noises and splashes of others detract from the silent struggle of those who float numbly on the surface. Someone who floats on the surface may be floating face down, and the heartbeat you hear is most likely your own. The movement you perceive could be the splashes of others. Those with body issues are all anorexic, aren't they? They measure time by the number of hours since they last ate, and they find their self-identity completely intertwined with the minuscule number that the scale whispers harshly to them, right? Meanwhile, I float on the surface, face down, quietly contemplating how people will react to the shattering of their stereotype. I weigh twice as much as those who define the stereotype, play 3 sports, and eat full meals, and I do not belong. People who harm themselves wear long sleeves so their wounds, their desperate attempts to relieve the pain are invisible, right? They are marked permanently by fading scars on their arms. People call them sadistic and insane and addicted to pain. Meanwhile, I float on the surface face down, my tears invisibly falling off my face and mixing with the chlorine-laced water. No one sees my scars because I hide them carefully, because I do not want to be called a freak. And I do not belong. People who are depressed should really just lighten up, right? They should find the small joys in life. Depression manifests itself readily and is noticeable to the naked eye. People with depression don't participate and isolate themselves from everything and everyone. And yet, I float numbly on the surface, face down. My mask is plastered on my face. My depression is hidden behind AP classes, humor, and lighthearted social interactions. And I do not belong. Individuals who have been bullied should really just speak up, right? Tell an adult, be assertive, and avoid confrontation is what they say to me. Don't be overdramatic. It's not that bad. But what they don't tell me is how I'm supposed to avoid confrontation when my tormentors walk the same hallways as me. And I scream as I float face down, but no one can hear me. People look at me and see confidence, and I see brokenness. I look in the mirror, and I see despair, and I see hopelessness. And I was emasculated for years, and how do I tell people that my 4-year battle with porn stemmed from the need to feel masculine after being emasculated? People with insomnia should just take medication, right? They skip school frequently and have noticeable bags living under their eyes. It's really their own faults, right? They should just close their eyes and count sheep. I am so tired. I float carelessly on the surface, face down, and my mind does not rest. And I do not belong. People who are suicidal are selfish, right? They don't see the beauty of the world around them, and they don't understand that they have people who love them. Yet I see the beauty, and I comprehend love and affection just like any other human being with emotion. I don't want to die, but the weight of the pain sits upon me like the world upon Atlas's shoulders. It is not an accident that I was planning on overdosing on painkillers. I was tired of floating on the surface face down where no one could hear me. I wanted to sink to the bottom where no one could bother me. And I do not belong, and each joke about killing oneself made the idea more appealing to me. I am broken, and I refuse to pick up the pieces frantically to hide my struggles, to make it look like I'm okay, to conform to what society says I need to be. I tried that before, and that's how I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks. I do not create my identity inside of these issues, and I refuse to be placed into a category by society because of them. Society marginalizes people like me who struggle with these issues and tell us that it's unacceptable and uncomfortable to discuss these very real problems. I don't belong in a world where everyone is happy and has a perfect life. But luckily for me, this world is an illusion created by society which doesn't actually exist. And if you think it does, you're telling yourself a lie. Society says to keep the mask of happiness and perfection on, to keep relationships and conversations to an unsatisfyingly surface level. Society has told me, and they probably told you, that your issues are your own and should not be shared with anyone. Let them torment you on the inside, they say. Let the demons eat you from inside. And I stand before you today to say, fuck society. Fuck expectations. Your struggles are your own, and they are real. Do not let society tell you that they're not. My mask is coming off. Is yours?